I just went down a rabbit hole of watching in whole or in part every review of the new Dodge Charger EV that I could get my eyes on. And I am coming away from the experience with more of a vomitous taste in my mouth than I ever thought that I would have had for this vehicle. Guys, let me just fill you in. I'm going to give you the short version of this. It's bad. It's worse than what we had been initially thinking that it would be. The sound, that engine sound, is awful. It is absolutely terrible. I personally have empathy for whichever engineer had to sit through how many sound clips and come up with something on a synthesizer. My dude or my chick, my heart goes out to you. I know you did your best, but you've clearly never heard a V8 or any other internal engine before in your life before you were given this task. And I am so sorry that the system failed you in the way that it did to put you into this position. Oh my God, is it awfully bad. It is. So there's that. There is this weird blow-off valve sound that they try to pipe into this thing. There are so many campy, horrible, just absolutely derived from somebody who has never been a car person in their life and watched Fast and the Furious movies a couple of 3 times just to get an idea for some of the slang that car people used 20 years ago. And then they tried to put that into play with this car. It is terrible, but that's not the only bad thing. And I'll put it to you like this. That's subjective, right? So let's pair that up with an objective. Guys, the Dodge Charger EV, this platform, is going to check in right at 5,800 pounds. 5,800 pounds. To put that into perspective, my crew cab, 4-wheel drive, Coyote powered F-150 checks in about 400 pounds lighter than that. In essence, this car is the same weight as my 4-wheel drive pickup after going on a supermarket sweep at the big box store shopping for appliances. This thing is obnoxiously heavy. By the way, just the brakes on this thing look like they come off of a Starliner aircraft. They're humongous, and they have to be. But that's not the worst news. You might think, oh, well, that's just the EV. Guys, if you take a 5,800 pound car, put a human being in it to drive it, you've got 6,000 pounds going down the road. I want you to consider this. There's also the 6-pack cars that are coming. These are the Hurricane Inline 6 twin turbo engines. These are the internal combustion cars that are coming. Even if they are 1,000 pounds less, and I'm bringing up 1,000 pounds less because if you compare a Mustang to my truck, it's over 1,000 pounds less in terms of weight. If you take a crew cab Ram 1500 and you compare that to, say, a Scat Pack, it's roughly 1,000-ish pounds. It's about 1,200 at the most pounds difference. So let's just take that number. You go from 58 to 4,600 pounds. That's still 300 to 400 pounds more than the outgoing V8 powered variant. The car was supposed to get lighter. It was supposed to be more nimble. It was supposed to be more sporty. Instead, this thing packs on 300-ish pounds, potentially. That's nearly a 10% gain in weight, guys. That's terrible. And now you've got folks that are going, oh my goodness, because remember, we're living in an era where their Stellantis' CEO, by the way, to you, pal, he took off. He's gone. He quit. Tim Kuniskis is coming in. And we've got a lot of Mopar guys going, yay, we're going to get a V8. Vroom. Awesome. Guys, that poor V8 is going to be shackled with a minimum of another 300 pounds worth of mass to move. My goodness. It's almost like if they don't put the Hellcat engine into this car, it'll be doing it a disservice. In fact, I was pretty hyped up about the high output Hurricane 6 engine going into this car, but my gosh, you're going to need all that power to get this thing moving. Let me put it to you in another way. So comparatively speaking, this car at 5,800 pounds, guys, it's only like 400, maybe 500 pounds at the most lighter than the Wagoneer that I drove with the high output variant engine. It's not like it's 1,000 pounds less or 1,400 pounds less than this big old SUV with the Hurricane 6 high output. It's only like a couple of people heavier than the Charger. This thing is a tank. So guys, if you're hoping for a V8, you better be hoping for a V8 with some forced induction, because it's going to need it. And I'm telling you, even if that were to be the case, remember that the V8s are heavier than the 6-cylinders. And if you put a blower on it, like what's on the Hellcat, that's another 100+ pounds between the blower and all the rest of the cooling requirements for the intercooler system. You're not going to be looking at a huge weight difference between this car and, I don't know, is a Trackhawk even that heavy? What about the Durango? Was it even this heavy? It's going to be heavier than that, it looks like, or at least on par. So guys, look, I watched them so you don't have to. This car is not only bad, it's promising to be worse than what we could have possibly hoped for. It's incredibly heavy, and by all accounts, this Chimera platform, which is what it is, meaning that it can be either electric or it can be fuel powered, it looks like it's literally failed at both. It's exceptionally heavy. It is polarizing in its execution and looks. It is going to be overwhelmingly expensive by all accounts as well. And with no supercharged V8 to push around that kind of mass, it's going to offer up ho-hum performance at best. Post up your comments. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this monstrosity. And we'll catch you on the next one. Thanks for stopping by.